Welcome to the Neverworld podcast, where together we explore the strange and unusual. Every journey starts with the first step into the unknown.
Hey, welcome to Neverworld Podcast. I'm Scott. There's Dave, and I'd like to welcome you for joining us today. Before we get started, thanks for coming, and please hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share. Please leave a review on Apple, Spotify. If you're listening to us on audio format or video, give us a thumbs up, a like, a share, anything. Help us be seen. We've just started this thing rolling and would love to have more people just come join us and talk about the things that we find fascinating on the Neverworld podcast. Which brings me to today. I wanted to talk to you, Dave, about your thoughts on, and my thoughts as well, on psychics, but not just psychics in general. It seems almost like a little subgenre of psychics. You have your ghost hunters and others, but then you have some who claim that they can communicate through the veil into the afterlife and speak with our loved ones. And I find those particular people fascinating. And I can only imagine what it would be like to one day just be hanging out as a kid talking to dead people. And that's what almost everyone I've read about, like John Edward himself, they talk about as being children and seeing those who had passed and communicating. And here's the thing that we've talked about before is they're supported by their family of, oh, it's okay that you're seeing grandpa or whatever, instead of, oh, stop it, you're imagining it. So they're allowed, I think they're allowed to develop that. So, but that gets me back to my other point, though, on the psychics that have this ability. There's a lot of people that claim it's fake. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I can see that. I can see why. Well,
Absolutely.
There's been a lot of people that have been caught faking it, for lack of a better term. I mean, that's just what they were. They were.
There's
faking.
always a charlatan out there.
But I do believe that there are people who can speak or somehow get messages from the other side.
Right.
You had brought up John Edward speaking to the other side. There is a guy that I used to love watching on Unexplained Mysteries and Sightings, and his name was Peter James. That's who I was looking for.
Oh, Peter James. Okay.
Peter James. I found him very compelling. And without doing any, they say in the series that I used to watch with him on there all the time, that he would not do any pre history or any pre-reading of the areas, that the houses that he was going into. He talked about speaking to people on the other side. He was a type of ghost investigator, but he would also try and get the ghost or the spirit of whatever was there to move on to
right.
Okay, your time on Earth is done. You need to keep going. That was his big thing, at least from what I had seen. I've seen John Edward. I do believe that he's got some type of an ability. Not even going to try and fathom how people do this sort of thing. But yeah, there are definitely charlatans. There are the women.
There always will be.
Who started the big psychic push, paranormal push, if you will, back in the 1800s. I forgot their names, but it was like a sister duo that would do the clicking of the knuckles and the toes, and the whole thing was spirit talk, and they would have like tap on the bottom of the table, and everybody was always looking
seances
for these girls.
And
they were all seances, talking to people on the other side, and that, when they were found out, put a real hurt on anybody who really could. I mean, there are psychic detectives literally helping police solve mysteries.
Yes.
And their ratio of actually being able to help the cops find a murdered victim or a murderer is probably, from what it's been a few years since I
pretty high, actually.
Seeing any kind of statistic on it, but it's at least as good as any good detective
Yeah.
that finds.
And why wouldn't you utilize all your sources
Give it a
instead of just
shot.
like, I mean, yeah, hey,
Yeah,
let's see what they have to say. They may come up
yeah,
with, and I've heard that a lot of psychics working with police. And you'd mentioned something that reminded me of the show The Ghost Whisperer with Jennifer
right,
Love Hewitt, because her thing was she would help people send people over to the other
right,
side,
right.
so they could transition because they were like stuck and held beyond or
Hmm.
held here. And you hear that a lot in the lore of after we die or some people die, they get trapped here somehow, either
Right,
stuck to an object or some sort of unfinished business, or they're
right.
confused. And that the fact that they may be confused or lost scares me, man. Because
Oh, jeez. I'm
that
always scared and lost. I don't
I
want to be
know, so
scared
I
and
don't want
lost
to
after
die
I
and be
die
scared and lost.
too.
Somebody better come pick me up. I want to see the tunnel and not be a train. You know, I want to have somebody meet me there, not just like,
I'm
where the
gonna
fuck
need
am I?
somebody holding a sign. David Mancoat,
Yes,
where your
dude,
ride?
dude, they could be now.
I
I
just
have
need somebody.
yes.
So my old lady knows me good enough to know I'll pass right past the tunnel.
You turn here.
Yeah, turn here. Right, right, right. No, your other right, you
Oh,
dumbass.
lost another one.
So,
Now I have seen John Edward live in at a show that he had done where he did
uh,
readings, and I've seen several others live as well, and have had individual readings on this type from
uh,
psychics. And one of the things we're talking about with the charlatans and the scams is that it's quite possible that you look at it. Here's a crowd waiting to get in. What's going on? People are talking about who they want to see, who they want to connect with,
right, right.
and it's speculated that John Edward or the psychic that people are going to see would have plants in there
Oh
actually
yeah.
asking other people these questions and gathering this info so they could bring it back. That that would work as a scam. And you could
Oh
make
yeah,
that
definitely.
very convincing. Nobody talked to me, and my wife and I made a point to not mention anything once we were
Right,
inside.
right.
And I do that even if I have a psychic reading with somebody. I
Mhm.
try and make sure that I don't give them information.
You want it to be a
um,
clean read.
I want a clean read. You give
Yeah.
me information, it's good. I don't want to taint it with something I've said, just as a joke or anything. So you
Mhm.
you kind of sanitize everything, so you know what you're getting is okay.
Right.
How did they get that? That's not on my social media feed, because that's another thing now with the internet. How
Mhm.
hard would it be for me to, oh, David Mancos, I know where you live. I know how
Right.
much you paid for your house. I know how much debt. I know how you voted. I can find all that out right now, and that's so could a psychic. And if I came to you and said, I'm picking something up, I saw that you had a car wreck a little while ago or whatever, and you're
Right.
like, I never told you that. Well, I was told
I
by
feel
your
it. I
great
feel
aunt
it.
Bertha.
Yeah. That's why I for me my I don't really get too deep into anything. I get political just to piss people off mostly on my post. Uh because I'm a
No,
jerk.
say it isn't so.
Because I'm just a jerk that way. But really like the paranormal stuff that I share with you, like the just mostly for because we do this show. Uh they'd be really screwed to try and nail me down because I don't talk personal stuff. I don't
Mhm.
put anything really personal on my website or on anything. I
Yeah,
just don't talk about myself. You and I talk a little bit off camera, but
yeah,
never anything really personal. I mean, as far as like being filmed, so anybody could grab
right.
it and go, "Oh, look, you guys are, you know, I'm going to use my psychic ability." And this is no, you just saw the film that we just shot. Uh,
Exactly,
right.
exactly. So yeah,
I'm
to
not
be
hard to figure out.
no,
I'm not
but
that hard to figure out. But if
I've
I'm
always
quiet,
wondered how
I'm
people
not
were
going to
able
figure
to.
it out.
Yeah, I've always wondered how people were able to do that. And
Mhm.
one explanation, and if we want to take the easiest explanation to me, is they really could read my mind, or they really
Right,
could see something.
right,
That's the quickest. That's
right,
my
right.
right there. So barring that, what else could they be doing? They could have plants in the crowd. They
Yep.
could have scoped out your social media. They could have pulled your tax records. They could have done all of that. And that's where me being a skeptic comes in, because
Right.
you want to try and guard all of that.
Well, yeah.
And what's happened with me every time I've spoken with a psychic and ones that I feel were very genuine, I came to that conclusion when they hit me with something that is not out there, that
Right, right,
nobody knows, that only I know. And it's like,
right.
okay, you're real.
Yeah,
I've never
yeah.
told
There's no
anybody
way you
that.
could have. Yeah, there's no way that person could have known that about you.
Yeah. And that
Right.
every one of them has been able to prove it every time. And I don't even
Yeah.
have to ask for proof. But that's what I always want anytime I talk to a psychic, because I don't believe them until they hit me with this. Like, oh, all right, we're in.
No,
What you
no,
got to
I
say?
get it. I completely understand that because that's how I would be if I went to a psychic.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, as somebody who's been taken advantage of throughout my life to learn some hard lessons,
mhm.
I don't trust many people.
No,
So,
no, you know what? We also came up in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
yeah.
We're a different breed, man. We are the
Yeah.
X, Generation X.
Yeah.
Nothing's if we lose power, if we get hit by an
We'll
EMP,
survive.
our 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 group of people are going to be okay. It's
Yeah.
our kids or your friends' kids or
Yeah.
their kids are going to be really fucked. I can go out and plant seeds. I know how to do that. I hate doing it. That's why I buy my food.
I'm not too
I'm
worried.
not
I'm
a
not too
farmer. I
worried.
don't want to be a farmer,
As I said
but
earlier, it's
but
a
I
good
can
thing I'm
be.
older because I'll be dead and I won't get to see it happen, so they can
Yeah,
deal with
exactly. Like I can
it.
be, but I don't want to be. I know how to hunt. I don't like hunting. It's
No,
not a matter of it's because I don't
no,
like it. Not that I dislike fresh meat.
no. If it's a
Just don't want to
necessity,
sit in a fucking cold
we're fine. We're
waiting for
fine.
dinner to walk by. But
Exactly.
but as far as the back to the psychics,
Yeah.
um,
There's a tangent.
yeah, yeah, right. I don't even know where the hell that came from. But there is a necessity, I think, on the person being read. I would almost say buyer beware.
Yeah, it's a good caveat.
Know that you're going in and know that there is a possibility that this person has figured out a way to read you, whether it's your visual, your facial expressions. Having a poker face might help. Uh, if they already know you're coming in, they may be able to get some information off of about you.
Yeah.
If somebody says, "Oh, hey, Dave, hey, Scott, hey, Bob, hey, Jane," all of a sudden they've got a name. Now they can go from there. It's just little things, and just a tiny bit of information can go a long way on somebody
It really can, and you don't even think about it.
because you have that chip. And as you're chipping, you're looking and you're looking and you're looking and you're just digging, digging, digging. And
Well,
then that's how a lot of false psychics do it.
that
My
let me interject real quick.
Go ahead.
This is exactly the same way that scammers get your email, your login, and
Yeah,
steal your money.
yeah,
You most hacking that happens is because the person who gets hacked gave access willingly but unknowingly.
right.
And so most of the time it's you let them in, you open that damn door because you're not paying attention. And it's not because you're stupid, it's because they're so good at it and make it look real and innocent, and you
Yeah.
don't even realize. A smooth talker can get anything out of you without
Oh
ever
yeah.
real. Yeah, I mean, they're good at what they do. That's
Cool.
why when I'm like at a psychic fair or in the streets of New Orleans and there's somebody
Right.
doing tarot, I may listen to them a little more because they don't know who I am. I just sat down at
Right.
their table. So I'm going to get an interesting reading. And
Right.
I love an impromptu reading out of nowhere because sometimes they're really actually pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a nice place that there's a Wiccan. It's a craft, and I mean the craft
Mm-hmm.
store down called Live and Let Live.
Okay.
Next time you come down to this end of town, we'll go
We'll
in there.
definitely have to go.
Kat and I like to go in there. I like to go get some stuff out of there every once in a while. The guy who runs it is from New York. He's the
Oh,
nicest guy in
cool.
the world. You would never, I mean, to meet the guy, he's a good guy. To meet him, if you just met him on the street, you would never think he'd own a shop like this. But he's the nicest, coolest cat. They
Very
do
cool.
readings there, and I've been kicking around
Oh,
wanting to go in
cool.
and do a reading, just like a cold reading. Just walk in, boom.
Yeah.
Don't tell them my name. Don't tell them pay in cash, so they don't have a card number. They ain't got nothing. Just
Yeah.
boom, there you go. Just to see. That most of them, the ones that I've seen, seem to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that. That's like you said, a cold reading. Boom, you just go
Cold
down.
read's always always good. There used to be a woman here that I used to see, and she
Uh-huh.
had the talents of John Edwards. She would talk to the other side, and she would do local shows. Her name's
Well,
Sharon Renee. She's in Texas and the minister of a church. I apologize, Sharon. I don't remember the name of the church. Might be in
right.
Tyler, Texas. It's a Unity church. But
Oh,
anyway,
you did it. Yeah.
she was phenomenal, and she had given me information on a read that was not my information, but it was meant for my mom. So that's one of the things that's like, why are you telling
Yeah.
me about? She was telling me, and I'll share this. Was
Yeah.
told me she just kept seeing a vision of a stuffed bunny rabbit, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't. That doesn't mean nothing. I don't know what that means. She's like, just take it. Just take
Right.
it. It may be absolutely nothing. Well, that night I talked to my mom, and I just said, look, I saw this psychic, and I just got to ask you something. Does stuffed bunny
No.
rabbit mean anything to you? That's all I said to her. And she starts crying. It
No
was her
shit.
daughter had died at age 3, my sister, and her favorite toy was a stuffed bunny rabbit. So
Oh my God.
that gives me chills to this day to even share that story. And it's like, oh, holy crap. So I know you
That's crazy.
naysayers out there like, well, she just says stuffed bunny rabbit. But yeah, why would she say stuffed bunny rabbit to me? Come
Yeah.
on now.
I didn't have a stuffed bunny rabbit. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what kind of, if I even had an
I
animal.
didn't. It meant absolutely nothing to me, but it
I don't
meant for
want
somebody
a
else.
fake psychic to see it. But
Yeah,
oh yeah, why would that even come up? It's like,
exactly. So that's the kind of stuff that tells me that this is, legit. And
mm,
I would argue that this is kind of a controversial opinion, that even if it's not, I think it has the potential to do good. Some people need help sometimes processing their grief.
yeah,
I'm not saying that it's a good thing to scam people. Please don't misunderstand me. But
right,
I'm
right.
saying that people still get a benefit from seeing a psychic, even if the psychic isn't completely on the up and up. So I don't know.
Like you said, as long as they're not taking advantage of or
Right, not
scamming.
taking grandma's pension
Yeah,
and
when you get
everything
into
like
that
that.
territory, it's hanging time. But that's just
Yes,
my
when you
opinion.
start taking advantage of people like that. But if you're, you know,
If you're helping them through a point in time of
yeah,
pain, if it's a way to help them cope
yeah,
and they're not hurting anybody, they're keeping the person from hurting themselves
yeah.
because the person, let's say, doesn't want to go to a psychiatrist. Yeah, it's a type of psychiatry, I guess.
Actually, it is.
If
It
you're
is.
good, if you're good and honest with it,
Yeah.
it's a type of psychiatry. But
It,
yeah, I can see that. I
Yeah, I
can
mean,
wrap my
I
head
don't know
around
why
that.
I just think of that. It's like, you know what? Yeah. So what if they may have pulled a little information? Did you feel better about it?
Right.
Are you more at peace with the loss of your loved one? Do you now feel that you made that connection again? I think it's hard because at least in this country, and cultures of, you don't grieve, you go right back to work. Suck it up,
Yeah.
buttercup. There's, we don't honor our dead here in America. We don't have the dead holidays of
Right.
Dia de los Muertos and Oban and all the other cultures that celebrate
Mhm.
our past ancestors. And it's just weird.
Right.
It's weird to me, being in this melting pot of nothing.
And you
So,
would think that we would have a lot more of that because of all the different cultures here.
you would think.
Even the Puritans had a type of
Yeah.
mourning period, but
Yeah.
you're right. There's not like when somebody's like, I have to go to a funeral and I'm gonna, mourn, for a week.
You're
People are
looked
like,
at like what?
why are you mourning? Oh my God, you should be back at work.
Yeah.
Work doesn't always make everything better.
No,
You
it
know,
doesn't. It doesn't.
um,
Sometimes you need time,
sometimes you need to talk to somebody,
You do.
and that person might be a psychic,
It might be. And
and
they
if
may
you
actually, because as we've talked before, I truly believe that there is an afterlife.
yeah,
Don't, I mean, our energy has to go somewhere.
yeah,
I,
yeah, absolutely makes
I don't
sense.
know what that is. That's the scary part. I'm not afraid to go. I'm afraid because I don't know.
Right.
It's just like, what exactly? That's it. It's my beliefs are rooted in reincarnation.
Uh-huh.
So that's why I'm probably more susceptible to believe in psychics contacting the other side
Right,
and
right.
lives and stuff. But reincarnation, that's a whole nother episode, folks.
My fear of death isn't so much a fear. It's more of I hate change. You know that. You know how much I hate change. Like,
Yeah,
that's a big change. That's a big. Okay, Dave, get your big boy pants on. We're gonna go through this door now. Wait, what's on the other side of the door? Well, you're
you'll
gonna find out
see
when you get there. No, I hate surprises too. I hate change
as they
and I
push you
hate
through.
surprises. Yeah. You know, I'd be the ghost. I'd be the guy just hanging out. Well, why doesn't he want to leave? He hates change.
Did you ever watch the series Better Off Dead?
I'm so horrible. Uh,
I think it
the
was Better Off
series?
Dead. No, Dead Like Me. Dead Like Me.
I
Series
don't think
Dead
so.
Like Me.
I
It
think
dealt
so.
with a young woman who I believe she was killed from a toilet that fell out of the space shuttle or some airplane or
Oh,
something, or a chunk of ice, or so, I forget what it was, something absolutely
uh,
ridiculous. But when she comes to, she's dead, but she's a
right.
reaper. She becomes a reaper and has to go gather souls.
Oh,
And,
okay.
and they have a little reaper organization. There's 4 or 5 of them. They're just
Right,
a
right.
bunch of goofballs. But I could just see it. The reaper comes and you're like, and you're having to fight the damn reaper.
No, not today, Satan. I'm not Satan. You know what I mean.
So it dealt with that a lot, with some of the trouble people and things like that. And
I
just,
will. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't
no,
mean
that
that.
was it.
I will be okay if it's Terry Pratchett's Discworld Reaper coming to get me.
Sure.
I'll be much better off that way.
Oh, oh, oh,
Ho ho
oh,
ho.
yeah.
David Mancos. Yes, sir. That's me. Oh, thank God it's you.
It's death. Yay!
Yeah, it's Terry Pratchett's Discworld death.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
the psychics, though, I mean,
yeah.
then they never tell anybody when they're going to die. But like the really fake ones, I think, are the ones who like, oh my goodness, I suddenly feel that, they hit you with some kind of thing, and you're like, that just makes you nervous, and it
Mhm.
becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I think at that point you start giving them information. Oh
Yeah,
my God, what can I do? I just did this and this, and it's like
yeah, and
boom,
that's
boom.
when like you said, they're really good at getting that.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
you will never
okay,
know you got.
where I think if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, okay, how? Okay, when?
Mhm.
Okay, well, I need more information. You're the one who started this conversation.
And one of the things a lot of people like to bring up, well, if you're psychic, what's the lottery numbers?
Not
And
how
there's
it works.
it doesn't work that way, folks. It's not like, okay, I can dial in, this person's going to tell me something. I
Uh,
feel, and because I'm not a psychic, I haven't tapped into these abilities enough to find
yeah,
exactly what it's like. But I would imagine it's like just kind of receiving something. And I
yeah,
don't think it's a two-way communication necessarily. It may be somewhat, maybe an
yeah.
attempt, but I don't. I've had the lady I was talking about, Sharon Renee, had it explained before. She sees visuals of things
Mhm.
like a flower pot or a car
Right,
or a letter or a number, not
right,
somebody just sitting there talking to them.
right.
They start getting hammered with visions
Hmm.
and imagery and stuff like that. And that's fascinating to me. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that would be really hard to explain. I think Peter James could see, but not always.
Mm,
Like I think he saw spirits and would talk to people.
that's
I
wild.
don't I don't know whether he helped police or not. And that's probably one of my, like you were talking about John Edwards being like
Mm,
a psychic you really looked at. Peter James is the psychic that I always
yeah.
looked at and went, there's something there. There's definitely
Right.
something there. I just saw too many things with him that made me a believer. And like with um, John Edwards, it was one of those deals where you watch and you're like, there's something there. There's like you said, you kept your mouth shut, didn't talk. You walk
Yep.
in, didn't fill out a card, name,
No,
date,
there was none of
you
that.
want to talk to.
So
So at that point, that's taken away that argument for a lot of people who say, "Oh, he's lying."
yeah.
Maybe somebody does dig. Maybe somebody does just throw out a letter and a name and this and that, and so
And
he's, oh,
maybe
it's
they did.
me.
Yeah.
You know, maybe, but I don't know. I'm not good enough at deception to figure out how they do
Mm.
it.
Now, I have. This didn't happen at John Edward. He didn't. He
Uh-huh.
didn't call on us. But when I had seen Sharon here locally,
Uh-huh.
the first time, some friends of ours were with us, and she had messages for them.
Really?
My friend's grandmother had just passed, and she's like, I'm. She looked right at him and started talking about his grandmother,
Oh,
and it's
wow.
like we just like looked and was like, oh my, she just nailed it,
Wow.
and it was like, wow. um yeah,
Man,
so it's I've seen it
that's
happen to people I know, and I
mhm.
know they didn't give anything away,
Right.
and so
Yeah.
it's fascinating to me. I what makes somebody think, hey, I want to be a psychic, I'm going to go make a living doing this? I guess if you feel you're helping people and stuff like that, but
Now, do they actually make
wow.
the decision, or is it kind of thrust, the universe just thrust it onto them? Like some psychics that I know have, like, I think
uh,
uh, Peter was, Peter James discovered it very young. I want to say he's about 8 or 9, if I remember
mhm.
correctly. And he, it was just one of those deals where like there was like 3 children involved. I just vaguely remember that there's three
Yeah,
children involved, and they were ghosts that came to see him. So what
he
is
had no
that? I mean,
choice. He was brought.
yeah, he was going to be a psychic detective or a guy who helped ghosts,
it
whether
it
he liked it
makes
or not, because
it
they all
makes me
figured out he can see us.
yeah.
Come on, the kid can see us. The
it
kid, we need
remind
help.
it
You
reminds me of
know,
a couple things: the Frighteners and Ghost.
yeah, the frighteners.
Ghost with a Oda Mae, Whoopi
Yeah,
Goldberg's character,
yeah,
with Patrick
yeah,
Swayze, will not leave her alone,
yeah,
and she's like,
exactly.
because he knows, oh my God, I've got it. Somebody can see me.
Yeah, you
I'm
can
going to get
actually
my
see
message
me.
across.
Yeah, like even in M Night Shyamalan's what was that, the one,
Oh, The Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense? Thank you. He's the kid can't help but see him.
I
The
know.
kid cannot help but see dead people. It's just like, I
Yeah.
guess this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a living
Unfortunately,
at this, I guess. And like the Frighteners, I would probably lean more towards the Frighteners. If you guys are going to hang out with me, we're going to go make me some real money.
right.
We're
Exactly.
going to bang
Exactly.
for our buck. Let's go, guys.
Yeah. So, yeah. So I am a believer. I
Yeah,
do believe,
yeah,
as we said earlier, there are some that fake it, but I do believe there are some that do real good, and they are all altruistic in their intentions,
yeah.
for sure. And
I would agree with that.
they do have to make money. Don't be complaining, oh my God, they charge so much. I looked up John Edward. He is still doing readings, and it'll cost you about $800 for that hour or however long it
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Not a surprise.
Well,
Somebody that famous,
it's
they're
also demand, though.
exactly.
You got to make it worth. When he was just starting out, I'm sure he wasn't charging that much money,
No,
but he
of
probably
course not.
was trying to get as many people in as he can.
But
Now
now he can only
you
see so many people.
Yeah.
So
So you got to make it worth your time at that point.
yeah, at
And
that point you do.
t-shirts, he's going to sell t-shirts.
Yeah,
I'm
it
guessing
is. Yeah, sure.
bumper stickers.
Yeah,
Got to sell that
something,
merch.
something. So,
Merchandising, merchandising, merchandising.
so
Um,
what's your take on psychics, Dave?
I
Yay,
do
nay?
believe in psychics. I do believe they some actually do what they say they do. I do believe that as a human being, you have to be skeptical
Yeah,
with any psychic that you meet, whether it's John Edwards or when he was alive, Peter James. I think you have to have some skepticism so you are not blindsided.
yeah,
With that said, I think you also have to have an open mind too with letting them in, because if you're going in and a psychic is getting blocked by you, they can't do their job that you called them in for.
yeah.
So I think you might have to be a little skeptical, but you also have to
You
be
have to
open
open up a little bit.
where you're not blocking any information coming to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I do believe psychics exist. I do think, and cats. My wife has a few friends uh, that are psychics and
Oh, very cool.
had done readings on her in the past. Um, I don't see any reason why not. The universe is a big, complex thing.
That we're still trying to figure out.
We are a cog in this wheel, man.
We are.
Yeah, they're there. They do their. Some of them do a good job. Some don't want to do the job. And those are probably the ones that you need, are the ones who just
Those
don't
are.
want to be involved. I mean, those always make the best heroes, folks, are the ones
Yeah.
who, you know,
Reluctant hero. Yeah.
reluctant heroes are always the best ones because they don't want to be there. They want
No.
to go home and get their Burger King cheeseburger
Yeah.
and sit and watch
Well,
television.
exactly, exactly. And if you go through history, we can find stories of psychics and whatever under many names,
Yeah,
soothsayers, shaman, witch
yeah.
doctors. They would fortune tellers. They would read
Mhm.
bones and guts
Yeah.
and tea leaves and so much ways of divination.
And it's so, some of them I'm sure were, even back then, I'm sure some were like just faking it. And other ones were like spot on,
Yeah. I
nailing that,
I have
nailing
a
the head.
hard time understanding how somebody could scam other people. That
Right.
is what I guess because I personally could never do that. It sounds horrible.
Mhm.
So how somebody could actually put forth that much
Right.
effort, and I've seen it a lot, and especially in the movie industry. Uh,
Yeah.
so to go through so much effort when it'd just be easier to do the right thing, or be
Yeah.
the real thing. You don't why spend all the effort to fake it? Why
Be honest. Be as honest as you can as a human being. I mean, not
exactly?
everybody's, going to be super honest, but be as honest as you can.
Yeah.
And I mean that as, and like, try not to take advantage of people. The best deals I read in a book, and from I know not your favorite guy, but I read a couple of books on Trump, and there was written that,
Just not my favorite guy, but that's a
no,
whole other
he's not your
podcast.
favorite guy. That's cool, and I get
Never
it. I
has
understand
been.
he's not anybody's favorite guy a lot of times.
Yeah.
But what he wrote one time was, the best deal is when you shake hands at the end of the negotiation, that everybody got what they came in the room for.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
And
So,
that was the bet. That to me was like, that's that's a deal. That's
yeah.
a negotiating tactic that I can get behind.
Yeah,
I want what
absolutely.
I want, and as long as I get it, and as long as you're happy when we walk out the room, there's no reason anybody should have a lawsuit at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know,
Fair enough. Absolutely.
but that's
Absolutely.
that's in life too. I think you can take that
Yeah.
over into,
You absolutely
and you
can.
can dub that the name out if you want to. I get it.
Oh no. No, it don't matter. It don't
I
matter.
almost, I forgot that we were even
I'm not
recording.
ashamed I don't like him. I don't care.
No, no, I just mean like, you know,
And I don't care if you do. I
yeah,
don't. Fine. Whatever.
yeah,
Anyway.
exactly.
I don't need
But
a psychic to tell me
and
that.
that's why we're friends, because we don't give a shit what the other one likes and doesn't like.
Why? Because it doesn't affect me, and
Yeah,
I try and keep that in mind in life. Not everybody has to believe in what I believe or believe in how I believe.
and
So
with psychics the same. It's
that's what
like,
I'm getting at. Yeah,
yeah, our belief system is based on our upbringing,
and
and
our
sometimes
experiences. Yeah.
that upbringing brings us to a completely opposite um, conclusion than you would have thought 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in my 20s, I always looked at this kind of thing like, really? That's hokey pokey.
Yeah.
That's nothing. These people they're all liars. And
Well,
then when I start looking into it, I'm like, the detectives have people helping them. They're actually solving crimes. And that's when I started really getting interested in it.
it's really easy to discount or naysay about this.
Right. Especially if you've never had any interaction with it.
Yeah. I used to I've always believed in psychics. I've had enough experiences at such an early age that there's no way I don't believe in the supernatural.
Right. Right.
But the more I go into this, and it is the biggest surprise is how much more religious I become. And that I was not
It's
prepared
odd,
for
isn't
that.
it?
It was odd. I thought I would actually become more atheistic.
Yeah.
But it's riding that agnostic hump big time right now. It's like,
And
wow, okay.
well, as you say that, and I've brought this up before on other subjects that we've talked about, it seems like the more that I learn about things like this, and the more that I study, and the more that
Mhm,
I look at, it's the more I look at and go, my God is a great God, because look what He created.
mhm.
And a lot of people can't look at it that way. A lot of people are like, oh no, it's all this or it's all that or it's all, and it's like you guys are looking at it a completely different way than I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at it. I mean,
Yeah.
basically you're saying the God of the guy who created the entire universe, the multiverse, all the complex things that are happening, just the fact that you can breathe is beyond me. You're telling me that that guy isn't great enough to put a psychic on the planet to help people?
Yeah. No, they'd rather burn them.
Come on, yeah, come on. I'm not going to burn anybody for that.
No,
I'm
not
going to
going to
be the
burn
guy
it.
trying to throw water on the fire. Come on, guys, let's stop this. We did this a couple of times before, didn't we? It failed.
Exactly. Exactly. So people fear what they don't understand, and it's just
Yeah,
it hurts. But I think as a people in this day and age, we are collectively becoming more open.
yeah.
It's
Say yeah,
slow. It's slow, but I think I do feel it's become more acceptable. And people are being more open to other religions or other spirituality
yeah,
and other
yeah.
paths, and not so black and white like a Puritan of how things should be. So I think that's there are things that give me hope for the
Right.
future. That's
Mhm.
one of them. There's others that I go the other way. So I don't think it balances out just yet.
I think
So,
I think if we can get through and not have World War III nuke everybody on the planet, I think there's a really good chance, honestly, because you're looking at this from all the other things that we talk about, like
mhm,
psychics and the craft and Atlantis and all this.
right.
We all know that mankind's probably been wiped out half dozen times. And
Easily.
when I say mankind, I mean whatever species we were before. If we can get past this one thing without wiping ourselves out, we may be able to go out into space and have an empire,
Just
an
might.
actual empire that
Just might.
doesn't want to wipe everybody else off
We
the
have to
face
get rid
of
of that
whatever
urge.
planet they're on.
I don't I don't understand the constant. You know what? I thought about this a lot, and this is definitely not the topic for psychics, but I do want to share this,
Sure.
and
And then
I
we can wrap it
think
up.
we will wrap it up. I think so many people miss the big picture, and what I mean by the big picture is that picture is so damn big that we are so insignificant
Mhm.
to this universe. All you got to do is look up in the sky, and every spot you see is a galaxy filled with billions of stars. And
Mhm.
so it's billions upon billions upon. I can't
Yeah.
comprehend how much is out there. We mean nothing. So
Mhm.
you want to take your little insignificantness and be mean and petty and hoard everything and take all the money and be greedy and start
Mhm.
wars. And I don't get it. We this the universe speaks to me as something, I guess, holy or sacred. It's
Mhm.
something so big that we could be a part of and we could embrace, but yet we choose to just fight each other over differences and land and what we
Over
have and not.
stupid shit.
Yeah, basically. So
Totally
that's
stupid shit.
that's my parting thought on it. It's like I believe in psychics. I believe in a lot of things, and I think if we
Yeah.
take a look and allow people to have beliefs and work on just being better people,
Yeah.
we might actually open some of this up and get to see some of it.
Just because you and I don't agree on something, or you don't agree with somebody else, or I don't agree
Mhm.
with somebody else, and I try not to crap on them. It's like, you know what? I don't agree with your take on whatever
I
religion,
don't take it
whatever.
personal.
Moving on. Yeah. I'm moving on. Well, some people can't move on.
No, they
And it's
can't.
like, no, no, no. You need to move on. You need to let that go.
You don't need
If somebody
everybody to
doesn't
believe the
believe
way
like
you do.
you,
Yeah.
whatever it is that you want to believe, like,
Mhm.
just let it go, man. Just are they hurting anybody? No. Okay. As long as
No,
they're not, hurting anybody, let it go.
that's
Let's
that's the
move
thing.
on.
Yep, that's the thing.
But
As long as it doesn't
that's
hurt
with
anybody,
psychics. I
do your
believe in
thing.
psychics. You believe in psychics. You
Yeah,
believe that the ability is there. If
absolutely.
some people don't, just let it go.
Yeah,
Fine, don't believe.
you don't have to
That's
believe.
completely up to you,
I
man.
think you're right. There's so many people want to prove their way or whatever, so and
Yeah,
get that affirmation, but it's not necessary. And that's
yeah,
a hard one, man, because
yeah. It is.
you want people to agree with you because you want to feel like you're right, or you have that you're on the right track of
Yeah,
something, and you believe strongly in it, it's hard to realize or finally come to the conclusion that if somebody doesn't believe you, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
right,
It doesn't affect me if you don't believe the same creatures I believe in and stuff like
right.
that, or
Well,
believe the same religion I do. If somebody wants
mhm.
to worship Muhammad, that's fine. I don't care. Just don't hurt me.
Yeah, just
And
don't
I
hurt
say that
it.
with any religion. Do whatever you wish. Just harm no one.
Right.
It's that
That's
simple.
that's it. That's everybody should have that caveat. Do
Yeah.
what thou wilt and harm none.
Amen to that.
Hmm.
So, thank you so much, folks, for listening to Dave and I just ramble on about psychics, war, and politics and other strange phenomena.
It was space politics, so it's okay.
Space politics, yes. Well, when the Klingons arrive out of the neutral zone, we're in trouble.
Joining the Klingons.
Yeah, I am too. It's a good day to die, Dave. It's a good day
This
to
is a
die.
good day to die. Ramming speed.
All right, Worf. Anyway,
Thanks for picking up on that reference, dude. I wasn't sure if you were going to get it.
I got it.
We're geeks.
I'm in a spaceship.
So am I. This is
There we
great.
go.
Must be in a
Yes, I
spaceship.
got it. I got it. Anyway, thanks again, folks. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Have a good one.